he's putting me down. He's saying negative things about me. I got PTSD, not from the white dude, from this brother who's been fucking with me for years. And I can't do nothing. That's why they call us crabs in a barrel. But they would never, you never dealt with the white dude. Until then you finally get out there and say, well, shit, he's not that bad. He didn't bother me. But that brother, yeah, he bothered my ass. Yeah, he was the one that wouldn't allow us to grow grass in the front yard. Yeah, we wanted to get grass like the white folks. My dad tried to put it in, and they said, "What are you trying to do? Be like the white people?"
Grass?
Yeah, we want grass, motherfucker. We can't have grass. No. Why can't you have dirt like the rest of us? That's ghetto thinking. That's how they are now. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How about a rock garden with some ice plants?
I saw Miss Mary.
Zen garden.
When I was doing my one-man show, I talked about this white woman living on our name. She was the sweetest lady in the world, and she lived right in the ghetto of East St. Louis, Illinois, where we lived. And she had a beautiful yard, and it's like a flower coming up through a burnt. A forest fire that just happened. Everything's been burned, and you see this beautiful flower. That's how her yard looked in the ghetto, because we had all these condemned homes all around you, and then had this one white woman with this beautiful yard with these beautiful flowers, manicured lawn, and I wanted that. And the brother came out there and saw my dad trying to grow grass. Said, "What are you trying to do? Grow grass?" Yeah. Why can't you have dirt like the rest of us? And just as he was walking away, he said, "You trying to be white, ain't you?"
Oh.
I know,
Everybody deserves grass, but right now we should really be looking for plants that require less water so we can address the water drought problem. Yeah. So a rock garden, a rock garden with some some
inspirational sayings on the rocks.
Some succulents and some cacti.
That's environmental, right? Well, that's where Pruitt's ass is gone. How much money did he cost us?
They're still figuring that out. They just announced the figures on Tom Price, who was what was he? Health and Human Service? No,
341,000 or something like that.
Yeah, that was Price.
Do we get his shit now then? Because if that's how much he costs us, do we get to go get his shit?
I think we should. Yeah, you talk about sisters stealing old white ladies'
Give me your
purses.
Fucking house,
go get
Scott.
Go get Tom Price's
or Tom.
Shit.
Who are you fucking white guy?
Yeah.
I hope that when they tabulate the total that he stole from us, they present one of those Publishers Clearinghouse style large checks to America.
That's what we need is how they have the debt clock in Times Square.
Yeah.
We need to have a similar thing of how much the Trump administration, members of the Trump administration, or even just the cabinet, are costing America second by second.
Yeah, I'd like to know how much his kids are making off of us, because I know Ivanka's businesses are rolling in China. That chick is making a shitload. I mean, they're really making money off of this.
It makes letting your father fuck her all worth it.
Oh, God.
You piglet.
What's the
You know what happened. I looked at her astrological chart, and something happened when she was a kid that she will never get over. I think he touched her.
When is her name officially going to be changed to of Donald? Because it's happening.
The wives have been shut up, though. None of his wives speak.
NDAs.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, his first wife said that he raped her, and it was presented during a deposition. And then after a meeting with their lawyers, they settled on a sum that would make that go away. Marla Maples started publishing a book called "All That Glitters Is Not Gold" in reference to her relationship and marriage with Donald Trump. Then all of a sudden, she was bought out, and has an NDA. Now, Melania. You know that she doesn't walk around at night wearing sunglasses because shit's going well in her relationship.
Wow.
So she's been purchased a long time ago. I mean,
was she purchased or just leased? I mean, that remains to be seen.
Yeah. I think she's purchased, but he's gonna
rent to own kind of situation.
Set her free, in a little bit. But she's trying to stick with him so that she can get her own clothing line going. Nobody wants to buy from Melania Trump if you're a liberal, but Republicans won't buy from her if she divorces Donnie. So she's just got to stay there and take the abuse and get the syphilis that he brings home from raw dogging anybody who will let him.
These women hold no punches.
raw dogging.
They do not hold back anything.
It makes sense. The syphilis would explain the madness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fat Caligula. That's what I called him earlier. Fat I was trying to remember that.
Can I just say that I was, you just reminded me that I was at a comedy show last night, and one of the comics said, "I am raw dogging life." And boy, was that funny to me. Raw dogging life.
I was talking to a friend of mine. We sort of do extended binges of TV shows, and we've been working our way through Westworld because she had never seen it, and having a completely unrelated conversation before we were getting down to the TV watching, mentioned something about bareback anal. And she just got like really upset, and forgive me if either of you are one of them. But there are women who just squinch at the word moist. They're like, everyone has their word that it's like,
I like moist. I always call my cat's anus is moist. I go moist anus.
Do you know who else likes moist? Trey Gowdy.
See, now that I've got that visual, now I'm not going to like the word anymore. But she was like, no, the thing that really offends me is the word bareback. I really, all right, well, good to know. And then we're watching Westworld, and there was a scene where a bunch of people are riding horses, and I'm like, hey, did you notice if the Indians were riding bareback? And she looked at me, she's like, no, it's that they should be. I'm like, didn't. She just missed the whole. I'm like, didn't bother you? Okay. I think she was just trying to win an argument with her. But how do we? I was going to say, how do we get off on that?
This has gone off the rails.
Yeah, it really has. You mentioned Fat Caligula as a reference for Donald Trump. And it brought me back to the high school days. We had a world lit professor, and shout out to Dr. Chuck, who Dr. Charles Venegoni, who I believe retired this year after he was running the English department or something. But he realized that world lit was not exactly the bee's knees to a lot of students. So a lot of times he would give us interesting tidbits that weren't in the history books for context. And when we were doing ancient Roman literature, he had Caligula stories out the wazoo, not literally, but the kind that are safe to tell to high school students without anyone, getting a note from their parents. Mm-hmm. And one of them that, when you brought it up this morning, Liz, was the story about he sent Caligula sent his navy out to fight someone, and there, inclement weather, waves took out half of the fleet or something, and so he declared war on Neptune, the god of the sea, and sent ships out with catapults and had them, fighting the sea. Mm-hmm. And I think we can potentially see that in Space Force.
Yeah.
This is an important question. Dr. Chuck, as a world lit teacher, does that mean that he could read body language very, very well? That was a dentist reference.
Not that Dr. Chuck. No, he was a great teacher, because it was great. Like when, someone would, oh, this is boring. You're like, oh, well, what do you want to talk about? I was born for president. I mean, come on, and it's because that was like the big metalhead T-shirt to wear in the late 80s.
Still better than what we've got.
Yeah, I would take Ozzy.
I'd take Ozzy. He's not allowed around animals while doing hallucinogens, but other than that,
it seems fair.
You just talk to Sharon; she makes the decisions.
Yeah. Hey, didn't she have she had vagina surgery? Yeah.
Sharon?
What? Yeah. Vagina surgery?
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, the reconstruction.
Oh, really?
Of the old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of get kind of.
Rejuvenation?
Yeah,
vaginal rejuvenation?
Was this something that was discussed on The Talk or The View? Because depending, it could be a totally different conversation.
Well, she
I don't mind talking about it. I don't think I need The View, though.
Yeah. Just saying, that's what she was a big proponent of that. Women should go out there after you get to a certain age, fix it.
I mean, especially if you've had vaginal birth,
Yeah.
And, I did have a vaginal birth. And I've got weights. You can... they have weights that you can use to, like...
Wow.
Get everything back in shape, But... Should it be easier if you just went in and 15 minutes later? I
was thinking like the old Tweety and Sylvester cartoons.
Wait a minute. Can they
By the way,
have
nice young Frankenstein reference with the music. But you remember the old Sylvester and Tweety cartoons where Sylvester would like be going after Tweety and he'd hit him with a box of alum. Just like whole mouth, just.
Yeah. Hey, can women? That might be a new thing to have your own theme music when you're having a baby.
Oh, I gave birth to Rocky.
Really?
To all of the Rocky soundtrack.
Yeah,
my husband brought like a bunch of music, and on it was also some Michael Jackson in my because I was in labor for like couple of days, and I pushed for 4 hours, like active labor. No. And I started hallucinating because they took me off of the epidural to push, but you still have like that opium flowing through you, and it was really fun. But my gynecologist an OB, his name's Shimonis, and so. And so, like with Michael Jackson playing, I'd be like, "Hey, Dr. Shimonis, all right, bang, bang." It's incoherent, yelling Shimonis at him. Hey, Shimonis. And he's great. He's great.
See, maybe it's just like having long hair or, being the way I do. Whenever I enter any medical situation, I try to project the image that I am not trying to actively get drugs from you.
Or you should be like my mother. My mother had 8, and she didn't use any epidural, and basically bite the blade, push type of thing. So my nieces, when they were having kids,
frontier birth,
just like the old Indians, walk out into the book, drop it, come back with a baby, And she tried to go in there and talk to my nieces, and what you crying for, girl? Shit, push that shit out. Bring your ass on. We ain't got all day.
Oh,
and my mom didn't miss a beat. She said, girl, I had 8. Shit. Had to go home and cook and everything. And they didn't, get your ass right on back out there. You had to go to work. And my niece was like, oh, no, get her out of here.
Get her out of here.
Yeah, because she old hard ass. She was hard as a rock.
I had a scheduled C-section. It took 3 minutes. There was no music.
Wow.
There was no music.
Were you conscious, Stewart? I've only talked to one of my friends who had a C-section years back, and she was talking about how they after they take the baby out, they basically clean your organs and put them back in, and she was just describing the process, and she's like, you don't know what it's like to be laying there and you're just here's the spleen and scrub back in.
I would have screamed.
Men ain't worth shit because we'd passed the fuck out.
Well, that's why I went with vaginal, because she was breech for a while, but she turned at the last minute, and I was like, oh, cool, because I was like, I understand that you have stuff for the pain, but what about for the C-section? But what about the mental pain of me knowing that you've got my organs in your hands and they're on a table, and how do I know you're going to put them back in the right order? Like I'm freaking out. I'm going to hyperventilate. I don't want to do it. So
they take your intestines out, put them on your boobs.
Is that why you named it Ripley?
Well,
if you look.
Well, if
you look.
Well, I mean, I'm one of those people, and I'm really good at dealing with pain. Like, I have a high pain threshold. I don't like to, but I can. My own blood, however, is the thing that not always, but that's what's caused me to pass out or freak out. So when I'm donating blood, and I'm looking away, that many people from the Red Cross have been like, dude, are you okay? Are you sure you want to do this? Like, yeah, just put the needle in, and I'm
But if I slam your toe with a hammer, you'll be okay.
Well, I'm going to be pretty pissed off at you.
Yeah, but you said you have a high tolerance for pain.
That doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah, but you deal
but
with it.
I will deal with it, and when that toe heals, you better watch your ass, motherfucker.
But you won't deal with the needle in your arm.
I don't like to look at it.
I don't look either.
But he could deal with pain.